I bet there are many things in your life that you would like to have, that you would like to achieve, like your perfect relationship, or having your perfect health, or having the body that goes with it, having a lifestyle of freedom, the one that you always wanted, whether it's with your family and something more loving, cozy, and comfortable, or whether it's traveling the world, making money online, having freedom and impacting people. There are so many things that we want in our lives. Yet, I bet that you have always tried to take some action steps to achieve those things, but things have been holding you back. Things have been more difficult, or you found yourself thinking, well, that's not for me, or I want something different, or I'll be ready when, and so on and so forth. There are thoughts and beliefs that prevent us from achieve what we want. As an example of that, for example, there is those things that you try to achieve and you don't achieve them, but there are also those that you never try because you don't believe that it's for you, or you don't believe that it's possible to even achieve them. For example, if I tell you to, do you think you can earn $1 million in a year? You're probably not going to even try because you will think that, well, it's not possible. Or if I tell you to go and talk to that girl that you really like, that is beautiful, gorgeous, you might think, well, I'm too anxious to talk to her, so she will not like me, and even if I tell her something, it's gonna be stupid anyways, and I'm gonna shake and sweat, and, well, she's just too good for me. Are you familiar with those thoughts? Well, these beliefs and thoughts prevent us from achieve pretty much anything that we want to create in our lives. This is why we call them limiting beliefs. They're beliefs that are limiting us. So what if you had a step-by-step process that is proven, where you can identify which are the beliefs that you really have, because most of the talk that we have is just, some excuses or some ways to see those limiting beliefs from a different perspective, how you could root that to the core beliefs that you're holding about yourself that are basically blocking you from achieving your full potential in your life, and finally, getting rid of that. Finally letting that go, or changing that so that instead of being something that limits you, it will become something that will empower you without necessarily having to change yourself, without necessarily having to change everything around you, without necessarily having to listen to every personal development advice that is out there, such as, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with, and so on and so forth. These are great, but they are not necessarily tapping to the core of your identity. So in this video, I want to start this process, and it's going to go further with other videos that will come in the future. I will let you some time to do the exercise. This is not just a regular video that you watch in your car or whatever and you don't listen to it. I want you to pay attention, because this process is something that I use over and over with my clients. Pretty much every one of my clients that comes to me and wants to date their perfect partner and create their ideal relationship with her have some beliefs around himself, around women, around the world, about what is right, what is wrong, and so on and so forth. And this process literally gets them through their entire life, help them to understand who they are and what are the programs that are truly running them, and it helps them to get power back over their lives and decide what they want to achieve and how, what they truly want, and actually do it. So this process is very powerful. It's not easy, as I said. I have some clients that start to cry as we go through this in the real one-on-one coaching phase. But at the end, every one of my clients has a big smile, an inner smile that you can feel. Their energy is completely different. Their thoughts are different. And it's not something that vanishes the next day, because I'm not going to take you through a meditation that is just made to make you feel good. It's something that will actually, that is proven based on many other work that has been done on the topic, that will help you to break the patterns of the limiting beliefs, see them from a very different angle, and rewire just your thoughts so that you are not limited by them. And as I said, you will feel more empowered. So in this video, I want to talk first about what are beliefs. Beliefs are statements that you hold for being true. And this is usually the problem with our language. We tend to overgeneralize things. For example, something stupid like vegetables are healthy for you. I can guarantee that if I give you kale and make you eat 5 kilos of kale in one sitting, you're gonna feel very bad. So there are things that we kind of make those random statements without even thinking about them and thinking about the nuances and the possibilities. A belief in general is made as a statement. So it will be something like, it is. There is the word is in it. I am. I am too short. I'm too fat. I'm too young. I don't have enough money. I'm not ready yet. I'm not good enough, and so on and so forth. It can be statements about the external world, usually about other people. You know, that's also how racism come into play, or sexism, or all these other things. And every political way of thinking is based around beliefs. Every way of judging things is based around beliefs, because basically beliefs are a judgment that is emitted about something. When I say that it's just a statement that you hold for true, that might seem obvious, but what is less obvious is that this actually means judging something. And for example, you know, as I said with the examples about myself, but it can also be if you see the girl, you will see, oh, but she seems too arrogant, or she is too, you know, women are just too hard to get, and so on and so forth. These are beliefs that shape your world without even considering them. For example, the one that I just said at the end. Well, is it really true? If there was one girl that came to you and said, wow, you're exactly my type. I was looking for you my entire life. Who are you? Are they that hard to get? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So it's a way of looking at things a little differently. If I tell you, is it possible that for some reason you earn $1 million in the next month, you're going to tell me, no way, not possible. Well, is it really true? What if someone on the street stopped you and said, hey, you know what? I won the lottery and I feel bad because I don't really need that money. So I decided to give $1 million to each stranger that I see on the street. And you're one of them. Congrats, you just earned $1 million. Here it is in cash. Well, you probably won't even take that money, to be honest, but these things are possible. I'm taking very extreme examples just to show you how this is created. This is a judgment. It is a generalization that is judged. And why it's important to have that part of judgment in there. Because judgment, when you're judging someone, something, the world in general, there's an emotion that is attached to it, and that is hate. It sounds a little weird at first, but whenever you start judging the external world, you are actually judging yourself in one way. You want to have a way to say if something is right or wrong, and so on and so forth. So this is how it works, and this is also why some of those beliefs are limiting you, because they are preventing you from seeing possibilities, seeing options. For example, let's take some of them that are a little more closer to you probably. For example, well, if I stay too long with a girl, things will get boring and normal. Well, guess what's going to happen if that's your belief? It's probably something that is going to happen, because that's exactly what you believe. So why doing something that would go against it? It's a hypothesis to say, well, if I stay too long with a girl without sparkling the relationship, then there is a high chance that things will get boring. Right, this is a correct statement. But the one that is very oversimplified and overgeneralized, like every time you get into a relationship and you make a commitment, it's going to get boring and both are going to split up and so on. And you hear many people speaking like that. It's actually pretty depressing. And that's probably because they have some experiences in their lives where they experienced that. And this is something that hurt them. That's the second thing I wanted to talk about. How do we generate those beliefs? Some of them are generated by us because we can decide what to think about. But most of them are created by two things. Either a figure of authority, whether it is your parents through education, especially when you were a kid, that's where you're very sensitive to creating those limiting beliefs, because the parents educate you. So there's the education, and this is your authority figure. Everything that your parents tell you is right. And I'm not trying to bitch about your parents at all. But you might interpret things in a way that will make you create those statements, right? Or you might have heard your father saying certain things, or, well, that's a big one. If your father is not the type of person that expresses his emotions a lot and maybe just, either makes jokes and is happy, but on the other hand, whenever something doesn't go well, he creates anger, you might create in your brain the belief that, well, first of all, guys don't cry, which is a very common one, right? That's a very strong belief. And the second is, well, a man, which is, my figure of authority, my father, has to be angry to show its masculine power. And therefore, anger becomes the only emotion that you start to generate as a guy. So, and then, that it is limiting because it prevents you from using all the rainbow of emotion that you have at your disposal. So you can create those beliefs by basically mimicking beliefs of others, but also interpreting things in your own way. And that's why it's not just about the education, because education is active. That would just be, the fault of the people that have risen you. But that's not true. It's also your own interpretation. Not to say that it's your fault if you were a kid, but you also have the power and responsibility over those beliefs. There are other beliefs that are also created generationally. It comes from your entire family. I work with clients that come from families where the uncle, their grandparents, their, all the lineage was successful. And that, necessarily puts a lot of pressure, because even though the parents don't necessarily tell you, well, you have to be successful, all the family stories and everything will be interpreted as, well, I'm the lineage of these successful people. I have to be successful. It is necessary for me. It's probably more important than my happiness. And then it becomes a belief, right? Success is more important than happiness. That's another belief. And so on and so forth. So we have the figure authority, usually through education. It can be the educational system, typically your teachers, your coaches, your trainers, your best friends, and so on. Now we kind of get into the second category of how beliefs are created, and it is through repetition. If you do something over and over again, you are going to start to believe that this is right. I can guarantee you that, or that this is wrong, right? There are many things, and you can actually create conflicting beliefs. For example, if every day you eat something that is just, a junk food for you, such as French fries, you will create the belief that you love French fries, that French fries are good, and at the same time probably gain weight and believe that you're a piece of shit because you're fat. So the repetition also creates beliefs. Now, this was highly theoretical, but it's important to understand that all these beliefs come from traumatic events, pretty much, like very small events that are triggered by what others say, but how you interpret them, by what you believe about yourself in the first place. So your identity is highly attached to those beliefs. And this is why it's limiting you in your life, because it can also impact the most important thing is how you see yourself and how you feel, how you see things. So the consequences of that can be a lack of energy, a difficulty to express yourself emotionally, a lack of clarity that creates a lot of stress, and so on and so forth. Well, can beliefs be empowering? Yes, they can, of course. If instead of thinking, well, whatever I tell to this girl, she's gonna reject me anyways because I always say something that is stupid, you could say, it's very subtle. It's very close one to each other to think that, well, if I say something that I genuinely want to say and I appreciate it, there is a high chance that she will love it too. That's another belief, right? If I just be myself, either she matches or she doesn't, and so on and so forth. About what you want in your relationship with your perfect partner, if deep inside you want to have a relationship that is a little different, maybe an open relationship, maybe you want to see other women, and maybe you want your girl to see other guys, or you both dating people, and so on, but you think that this is wrong, what is this going to create in your mind? There is a will that you don't control, which is something that, is just generated by your desire. And you have this belief that it's wrong. Then what happens? There is a conflict of beliefs and you feel ashamed. Like, you shouldn't think that way. This is why beliefs are so important. So in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to find surface level beliefs, basically all the things that I told about in this video as an example, how to find the excuses that you might find for yourself or what would happen in many different important situations in your life. And in another video, we're going to drive those beliefs into core, true, important beliefs that you hold about yourself, about the world, and we're going to go through a process to get rid of that, pretty much. So it's pretty it's pretty empowering. Now I invite you to watch this video again just to get more insight and create your own belief about what limiting beliefs are. And don't hesitate to like this video, and most importantly, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can listen to the next part of this series. See you in the next video.